We are live. You are live, and you're with a couple of happy hammers. Well, I'm going to work on the assumption that Tommy is happy. I've barely spoken to him. We've literally jumped on the stream, gone live. Tommy, I have got notes, mate. I found myself scribbling everything down, thinking, "Oh, look, the goals. I don't know. Okay, what was goal one? What was goal two?" Tommy, before we'll go everything in sequence at the start. But first of all, how long's it been since I've had to scribble down and can't remember? We scored so many goals, can't remember which order each goal was in. How are you feeling?
Ecstatic, to be honest, because it was kind of everything I wanted, really. And there's wins and there's wins, and not all wins are equal. And you could win kind of in a horrid game 1-0, from a corner or something, and well, you've got the win, the 3 points. There's nothing elating about it, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you've turned any corners or that there's any particular glimmer of light other than the points. But today is not one of those. Today is a day I think that we've actually been able to really enjoy, and where we've actually seen a performance from the team, particularly second half, and we've looked threatening. Eventually, it took a little while, but we got there. And the floodgates opened, and it was great to see. Like I say, we've been waiting quite a while to feel this. I didn't feel this after the Everton win,
No.
or really after any of our previous wins this season. I haven't felt kind of any real buzz from the win, but today is a bit different. Today was much better. Eventually, again, it wasn't all roses, but look, when you've knocked 4 in and played well, change of formation, you've got an actual number 9 playing up front.
Yes.
It kind of changes everything. So yeah, I'm finally this season I'm feeling a little bit buzzy. I didn't have any Hamlet cigars. I don't know if anyone remembers the old Hamlet ads.
Oh yes, the adverts were great. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to settle for this, mate. But I'm enjoying it.
Well, you enjoy it, and I just want to. I don't do chat normally in the review because it just gets it's just such a busy video when we do the review. But I'll do no more. Absolutely, and that's one thing I would absolutely say. You got to enjoy it. We've suffered through a lot of crappy performances. So now is the time to enjoy it. And you know what? That sets you up for the rest of the weekend, doesn't it? Right, we'll go through the goals. But first of all, let's just brush over the first half. I think it's fair to say we were much the better team in the first half. Nice, a really bright start. Danny Ings had a couple of opportunities. There was a goalmouth scramble. I think you saw Paqueta in more advanced positions. More or less, for most of that half, we were the better team. Would you agree with that, Tommy?
Oh yeah, there's no question. I thought we started very brightly, started with intent, which I think we all wanted to see. We wanted to see a bright start, wanted to see that intent, moving the ball around quickly. And we were troubling Forest. I mean, they were really resigned to kind of just packing the penalty area and just trying to keep us out. I mean, we won corner after corner after corner. Unfortunately, we weren't really maybe able to make any hay. We didn't threaten as much as we maybe would like to have from those corners. But at least we were pressing, we were pinning them in, and they were struggling, just to keep us at bay, really. And one of the things I noticed, actually, which was I can't quite understand, is that when we're on corners, that Thomas Souček, who's probably our greatest threat now that Dawson's gone,
yes,
is standing under the near post, which to me is quite bizarre.
Having an argy-bargy with that guy, the guy that guy was trouble all game, the guy with the beard and the ponytail, right? Was it Felipe? Is it Felipe or something?
Felipe. Yeah. I just couldn't understand what that was all about, to be completely honest. I mean, someone as big and as threatening as Souček, he's someone you'd like to see out where Aguerd picks up, which is, just outside the penalty area, where he can just get a run on the ball and get up. And so why Souček isn't out there looking to kind of drive at the ball when it's played in and get up and try and power a header in? I think it was a complete waste, really, just having Souček stuck under the near post. And so that was a strange one. But yeah, unfortunately, we weren't able to threaten from the corners. We must have had 9 or 10 first half.
Well, and I thought the goalkeeper was flapping a lot. He caught one. The rest, and they weren't convincing punches. So I think we kept the pressure on them. But there was certainly a point for, okay, when we had so much attacking impetus when we hadn't scored, I started to worry a little bit. You go into, we're down the bottom of the league. You know, we've not been scoring many goals. And then just before half time, there was that incident where you thought, is he going to give a penalty? They gave it to VAR. And I think the fact that I think possibly it was Brennan Johnson went down incrementally under Ben Johnson's challenge. They didn't get it, but they had a look at it. They had a look at VAR, and that would have been it. Just with a sod's law, we deserved to be in the lead at the start of half, but it could have been 1-0 to Forest, which would have been completely undeserved. Let's go because we've got so many goals to get through. Which is great. West Ham goal, 4 of them, wonderful. Okay, let's get to half time. Cresswell on for Soufal. Soufal had a good first half, but I didn't know why. I don't know if we found out. Do we know if Cresswell's got an injury? If Soufal got an injury or not? I thought he had been playing well.
Yeah, that surprised me, I must say, and I can only think that Soufal has picked up a knock because Moyes just does not make kind of tactical changes like that at halftime. He doesn't tend to do that. So, it must be that Soufal has picked up a little knock there. Absolutely. So that's the only reason I could think of, really.
There was some nerves. I'm not going to dwell too much on this stuff because there's just so much good stuff to talk about. But I think suffice to say, I'll probably echo Tommy's concern that when Paqueta went down clutching his shoulder, we were all a bit worried about that. Fortunately, he was okay, but it did look nasty as well. So half time sort of came and went. I felt we started the first 5 minutes not as fast as before, but then we managed to get a little. I felt we got a little bit of impetus. And funny enough, talk about Paqueta. I felt it was. He flicked it over someone's head and then drove down the left wing, which, funny enough, was going to be a move that actually you were going to see again for our second goal. But there just seemed to be a little bit of drive, a little bit of flick, a little bit of flamboyance, and the crowd, when he flicked it over the bloke's head, I felt the crowd got really up for it at that point. And so whilst they might have been in it a little bit for the very start, and I mean 5 minutes of the first half, at that point, we sort of really, really got into our stride and we started performing like we were in the first half when we were getting all of those corners. Just before we get into the goals as well, probably worth pointing out that that Lucas Fabianski was taken off as well. This is not being done in sequence, obviously. I'm just telling you that it happened. He got an injury, a head injury, had a bit of a hematoma, if you noticed as well. Clearly he was concussed. He got replaced by Areola.
He's got a nasty shiner. I don't know if you saw it under his eye.
That's what I mean. It was he had a hematoma coming up there. So he was absolutely. So rightly so. He was. I don't know why. I don't know why it took so long in that sense. Not to get the game going again, but it was obvious he was concussed. But they seemed to do the concussion checks with him. I thought, you don't need to do these concussion checks. He's clearly taken a whack. He's clearly not able to continue. And then he sort of got up and then he dropped to his knee again. And, so hopefully, fingers crossed, he's going to be all right. Obviously, Areola came on just the one goalkeeper on the bench. This time, Moyes made 5 substitutions, by the way, in case you didn't watch the game. West Ham got into the ascendancy, Tommy. And I tell you what, mate, why don't you talk us through our first goal, my friend?
Yeah, we finally made the breakthrough, which was great. And a deserved one, it has to be said. We were far superior to Forest, even at 0-0. All that was missing was just that final ball, a really neat pass play by Paqueta out to the inside right channel to Jared Bowen, who cut inside and drove into the box, then cut back onto his right-hand side and played a very neat pass into Danny Ings, who timed his run perfectly to beat the offside. And it was actually, even though it was close range, it was actually a fantastic finish from Ings, as the ball was actually played behind him.
Yes.
He had to reach back with his right foot, and he managed to dig out the shot and put it inside the near post. So while it was close range, it was a much better finish than he'll probably be given credit for, Danny Ings. And, that was exactly what we needed. It was exactly what we deserved. It hadn't exactly felt like it was coming. It felt like we deserved to be leading the game, but as I say, we just hadn't done quite enough in front of goal to open them up. And then finally it came, and like I say, a really neat finish, really good work from Jared Bowen, a really neat finish from Danny Ings, and it was great to see him get off the mark. And I suppose it shows what we've been saying for a long time. It shows the difference when you've got a proper goal poaching number 9 in there who can finish.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Really was behind him. He definitely reached behind him, and that was really good. I was very pleased to see that. Actually, I didn't celebrate the goal though, Tommy, because of the VAR. And when I first saw it, I knew it was close. And I saw it, and I said, "I think it's offside," and I did. And then when you saw it, it was clear. When I say it was clear, it wasn't like there was loads in it, but I knew those lines would be drawn like that. But you're never quite sure. I could see the feet were, but you don't know. I'm never entirely sure. I mean, maybe the shoulder was leading a little bit over or something like that, but he did time his run perfectly. Seemed to have to wait a little while. Even then, I don't think at that first goal I really celebrated. I was just, as I felt like I waited 2 minutes or something. Probably wasn't that long when I was absolutely delighted. And at that point, that everyone was relieved, and then the stadium was buoyant because it'd been nervous. The stadium was nervous up to that point. Absolutely buoyant. I started writing my notes, Tommy. As I'm writing my notes, I've not finished my notes from the first goal, and we've scored a second goal. And in this instance, Paqueta has done his flick over, well, I don't know, his fullback or the winger's head, whoever it is. Paqueta's flicked it over his head. Then he's run with it. He's travelled with it a little bit, and then he's passed it into Benrahma. And at this instance, he wasn't. I felt earlier on in the game, there's a little bit of delay. Benrahma often likes to run and then stop, and then run and then stop. And I was sort of the start of the first half. I was thinking, I just want him to drive, because if all throughout that game, Bowen had a lot of joy just by driving into the box. Bowen hit the post. So Bowen was heavily involved in the game, and as I say, it's almost like Benrahma was stopping and doing a step over, stopping, and then whatever, checking back. I just wanted him to drive. And in this instance, he took the ball. And he drove into it, and he drove for that byline, which I love. He's best when he does this. Then obviously he cut it back. It was a bit of a scramble. I don't even know if it's an own goal or not. I'd say we're giving it to Danny Ings. But there he was in that striker poacher's position. Wonderful work though from Paqueta and from Benrahma, who did their jobs expertly. I didn't even see if to defend. At that point, this one I did celebrate though. How did you read that goal, mate?
Yeah, it was a really well-worked goal, I have to say, and I think it showed the golfing class, really, the players that are on the pitch. I mean, the beautiful flick over the top of the winger by Paqueta, and then slips a really neat ball into Benny. As you say, he drove to the dead ball line, played the ball across the face of goal. Danny Ings, like I said earlier, goal poacher.
Yeah,
been doing that his whole career, and it just shows the difference when you've got one of those up front. He meets it at the near post. He hits off his knee. And I suspect then hit the defender and went in.
I think so. Probably, yeah.
Well, unfortunately, this will probably be taken off Danny and might go down as an own goal. But nonetheless, I mean that was huge, because I think that second goal really was the one that you felt, right, that's the winning goal. That Forest have carried so little threat that second goal now really, really puts us in the driving seat. And that was the point where I thought, okay, this is 3 points. Because no matter how bad a team is playing, as long as it's 1-0, anything can happen. And they can score from a set piece or or a deflection or anything. But once it went to 2-0, I thought, right, now this is it. And to be fair, like after that point, I think Forest absolutely went to pieces, to be completely honest. They completely fell apart after that second goal went in. That 1-2 sucker punch, to happen so quickly. I think the Forest players kind of gave up the ghost even when that second one went in and realised that their goose was cooked.
Yeah, I mean, it's what I'm saying. I don't write extensive notes. They're just little things that prompt me during the video. I'd not finished writing the first one, and then we scored the second goal. So that was absolutely brilliant. It didn't stop there, and I'll tell you what, goal number 3, I did bloody celebrate. I really did. Actually, I've got to say, Tommy, I felt, pure emotion when it happened, actually, because it's been so concerning and so worrying about West Ham's plight, and something about 3-0, going 3-0 up, and the manner in which it happened. Once again, and Ben Rama did so well for this goal as well. So instrumental in the second and third goal. I'm even chuckling, having to remember which goal was which. Drove for real purpose. And because he'd done the driving run for the first goal, they're backing off him now. Because now they're not thinking he's going to stop and he's going to do a step over. Their defence are thinking, hold on, he's going to run in behind. But he did make the little run. I think actually he made the run. Perhaps Cresswell played. I think Cresswell did play some part in that, actually. Cresswell played it for now. So for the fourth one, there's so many, I get confused. But Ben Rama, what he did was he stopped the ball and then he picked Declan Rice out. Declan Rice was hovering about 20 yards out. Oh, I tell you what, he picks it up and he caressed it with the side of his foot into the top corner. It was a beautiful, beautiful goal, and that was the celebration was just, I think, not just relief, but utter joy, where just everybody, the players, Declan, everyone, that the crowd was able just to celebrate it. It looked, Tommy, the moment it left his foot, it looked like it was going in.
Yeah, I mean, just what a finish, first and foremost. But again, really good play down that left-hand side, where basically everything came from. The first goal came from the switch from that side over to the far side, but a lot of the damage that we did for those goals came down that left-hand side, particularly with Paqueta and Benny. As you say, they were expecting Benny to kind of drive towards the byline again and cut the ball back, and he feinted to do that and then cut back, played the ball back to Deck, about 19 yards out or so. Took one touch just to shift the ball out of his feet, and as you say, just curled an absolute beaut inside the far post, and the keeper had absolutely no chance with that. And the really pleasing thing is that, we scored those kind of 2 goals in quick succession, and we didn't rest on our laurels. We put our boot on their necks, and we
did.
Kept going for more goals. We kept attacking. We kept driving at them. It was almost like it was a release for the players. When we scored that first goal, it was like a weight had been lifted, and their tails were up, and they just started driving at Forest, who just could not handle us whatsoever in that mood and the way we were moving the ball around. And, it showed in that third goal, that we were just determined that we were going to keep going for goals. We had our foot on their neck, and we were not going to take it off. And that was great to see. The crowd obviously were loving it. The atmosphere in there was great. And for Deck to score that, I mean, just absolute peach of a finish. Absolute peach. Brilliant goal.
Yeah, I just want to say that there's a couple of I've got to say, I'm not going to pull them up. There's a couple of comments in the chat, and I've got to say it's disappointing, actually, because there's a couple of people who seem disappointed that we won the game because it meant David Moyes didn't get the sack, and I think it's a shame. It's a shame you can't enjoy the win. Actually, it's a shame. It's a shame that West Ham win 4-0 and you feel miserable. And I'm not going to pull the comments up, but I think it's odd, really, chaps. Anyway, we did score a fourth goal. This was brilliant. So he made all his 5 substitutions. Granted, we think 2 of the substitutions that David Moyes had to do were because of injury. We think possibly Soufal, and also we think that it was definitely was Fabianski. But he then makes a triple substitution, and I think it was great for Danny Ings to come off after that as well. Antonio came on, obviously Fornals came on, and Lanzini came on. Really good to see Lanzini come on as well. I think it's because Lanzini's wife had told Moyes off, so he thought, well, but I don't want Mrs. Lanzini calling me again, so he got Lanzini on there. As you say, we kept the pressure on, and I'll tell you what, this is good, because I think Moyes, judging from his comments in the press conference, had seemed wounded by the fact that people had said he was cautious manager, and if anybody that heard his comments, he didn't like it. He sort of had to concede it, he tried to concede it, and he didn't. He rallied against it. Really, he just wanted to say, "Well, hold on a second." But I think this is what he wanted to do. He wanted to prove it. He wanted to say that, hold on, I am an attacking manager. The fourth one and the substitution just kept their foot on our throat, exactly as you said, Tommy. And I think it was Cresswell. So it's actually all the subs, 3 of the subs combined for this one. Cresswell to Fornals, who was looking like, all of them were looking like they were right up for it. To be fair, Cresswell came on and had a bit of a mistake at the start of the second half.
Yeah.
Had to be bailed out by Declan Rice, I think it was, at that point. And then what happened was it went out to, anyway, Cresswell played it to Fornals. Fornals chipped it up, and Antonio was there at the back post. And, I just thought he headed it and finished it well. 4-0. And this is something David Moyes would really, really need. And because I think there's always been that suggestion that we go back to the Wolves game and we go back to the Leicester game, which were back-to-back. They were 3-0 and they were 4-0. But Alan Irvine was in the dugout for those games. I think David Moyes needed a 4-0 Premier League win to sort of put that to rest. And, I just allowed it to be party time. I'm disappointed I'm not at the game, because I tell you what, everyone will be having a right old party, a right old sing-song there. Talk us through that fourth goal, Tommy.
Yeah, again, really worked, and down that left-hand side again, where we did most of our damage. It was really good clip ball in, I have to say, from Fornals. A neat ball played through into Fornals down to the dead ball line just inside the penalty area. He cut back onto his right and clipped a really neat, clever ball over the top of the defenders to the far post, took the keeper completely out of it. Antonio was over there, was just too big and strong for the centre back. He just rose up above him and just nodded in at the far post. And that's an easy one for Antonio, but a really lovely clipped ball, it has to be said, by Fornals. Like I say, it just takes the keeper completely out of it, opens up the whole goal. And as long as Antonio was able to get up and ahead of the defender, the goal was just gaping. It was a yard out, and so and it was wonderful to see, because apart from Antonio, I think really needed a goal. We've had lots of endeavour from Antonio, who'll always work hard and will always try, but unfortunately just doesn't carry much of a goal threat anymore, and hadn't scored in about 13 games or something.
I think, yeah.
But
he's looked a bit sharp. He might have scored. I felt he's looked at least fit in the last few games, Antonio. Yeah.
He hasn't been flogged really this season like he has been
the
previous two. So when he comes on, he does look sharper and livelier and stuff. So it was great for him. I was really happy for Antonio to get a goal today. That'll do wonders for him as well. And like I say, I think this was a real fillip for the players. I think they needed that today. I know we needed it as fans. We definitely needed it as fans, and obviously that we're all buzzing after this, because it's an emphatic win, and we haven't had one of them for some time. But as much as we needed it, I think the players needed it more, because they're the ones who are going to have to go out and win games and get us out of the situation that we're in and make sure that we don't get relegated. And for them to have a day like this, like I said earlier, I think you could feel the weight lifting off, especially, when it went to 2-0. I think we were just all over them. And, normally, David Moyes' team, you'd be thinking, okay, we've got 1-0 up here now, so we're going to go like defensive now. We're going to kind of, make sure we don't concede an equaliser. We didn't see any of that today. I don't think Moyes could have made them do it today, even if he wanted to. I think the players were out finally, I think. You know what I mean? And they were just like, weights lifted, and all of a sudden they just wanted to go and attack and just wanted to go and destroy Forest and finish this game off. And the fact that they were allowed to do that and then went on to do that, I think could be just the biggest thing for them and for us. And I don't want to get too carried away. I know we have some more difficult games to come. Obviously, away to Brighton will be a much bigger test.
They weren't very good, Forest. Let's say, but I don't want to overly.
We have to, we have to put those caveats in there.
Yes, yeah. We do, but not. But yeah, and I wanted to say that, but but I also don't. And there's a lot of people saying it and saying calm down. I know, to be fair, I don't. Calm down. It's only for us.
No. I
don't want to calm down. I want to enjoy.
Yeah,
I don't need my mood tempered to that extent. But they weren't great. Do you know what I mean?
No, look, Forest were very poor. You can see why they've only scored 3 goals away from home all season. But like you say, we've got plenty of days ahead where we can start to kind of look ahead.
Yes.
To how we feel about away to Brighton. But for right now, we needed this and we got a performance out of the team. Eventually the goals came. There was a worry for a little while. I thought that maybe we were not going to make the breakthrough here, despite, that we've been much the better team. But thankfully the goals did come and the floodgates opened. Forest collapsed. And we've got ourselves a great win. 4-0. Can't ask for more. And I'm going to enjoy this one. I'm not going to think about Brighton for at least a couple of days.
No, that's right. I just want to pop this up now. Our usual suspect, who was a regular poster on both channels, by the way. And I'll be Gio's at the game. He's not really. I can't remember what I said earlier. I said something. I think I said it was a Mary Poppins musical. He's not. He's at the game. He will be uploading a video on the forum channel. I mean, by the time we finish this, it'll probably have uploaded it. So I'll get that process and we'll put that up. So he'll give his reactions from the ground. If you're not signed up to the forum channel, links in description below. I would hope everybody watching this is subscribed to this channel. If you're not, please do make sure you're subscribed, click the bell, and hopefully give it a thumbs up, unless you are one of the people who's disappointed when I win today, and you probably give it a thumbs down because I told you off. But there you go. Tommy, let's just, before we go, my friend, let's have a couple of, we'll have your man of the match, please. And just in case that's too obvious as well, let's have a couple of players from you, please, mate. Standout players today.
Yeah, there's some really good performances in there today. I thought Paqueta and Rice in the middle of the field were really good. Sufal, I thought first half did a lot of really good work down that right-hand side. There were no stinkers today, which was great. It's great to be able to say that. But really, I suppose most of our good work was going forward, despite it taking a while for the goals to come. I thought obviously, look, Danny Ings had a really, really good day, 2 goals. I thought Benny got into it second half. I thought Benny was a slow burner today. I thought first half Benny wasn't particularly good, if I'm honest. But second half, he really came to life. Ogbonna, I think, delighted for Ogbonna, I have to say, had a much better game today. I thought, he did struggle a bit last couple of games, and particularly against Tottenham.
For sure.
And I thought he stood up to it today. And
Colossus in the air. I mean, ruled the air, didn't he, basically, today?
He did, yeah, he absolutely did. And I'm trying to hope I'm not missing anyone. I thought Bowen had a decent game, got an assist. Not one of his best games again, but had a decent game. So I thought everyone, played well. Souček, I thought, played well. I did, if I'm honest, in the first half. Yes, this is me happy. Yeah, this is all I want. 4 goals a game. Is it too much to ask? I don't ask for much. But yeah, I thought, Souček played well, but the thing I thought, if I'm honest, in the first half was that in the positions he was picking up possession, I just would have loved to have seen a Lanzini or a Fornells in possession in those areas, because I thought they would carry more of a threat with their passing and whatever. But he had a decent game, Souček. So I thought everyone did quite well today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, great to see Annie. I almost said Annie Dings. To hell with it, Annie Dings. Yes, good to see Annie Dings. Bless her, scoring a couple. I thought that was really good. Yes, good. It's just superb. He's got range of passing like a midfielder, isn't he? Let's be fair. Yeah. But Ogbon, I agree with everybody that's said that, and yourself, Tommy. Well, that was great. It was so much about Declan. Had a good game. I was very, very, very pleased that Paqueta didn't get injured. But he ran himself into the ground. Moyes made the substitutions. Absolutely brilliant. I thought there, and obviously, as you say, that it was. Benrahma was a slow burner, and the longer the game went on, the better he got. Listen, I can read the Cresswell stuff. I just, for the same reasons I want to talk about the other stuff, I just want to keep everything positive for this one and enjoy it. I'm going out this evening. I want to enjoy it. So it's been a good day. That's the thing is, when West Ham win like this, you can enjoy the rest of your weekend. As Tommy said, there, we can deal with the things that weren't quite right and the other things that we're worried about later on. That's just not for today. For me, anyway. For me, if you want to, obviously. If you want to talk about Cresswell amongst yourselves, I think you can probably gather from what I'm saying that I'll leave Cresswell. I'll leave Cresswell alone for this one. I was so pleased with what I saw from Bowen though as well. I thought he gave them nightmares. Actually, I thought the direct running was absolutely superb, and I thought he was a threat all game. And you know what? Look, we're going to wrap it up now. It's been half an hour. We've talked through the goals. We've done some individual performances. A load of other stuff happened. There were loads of corners. We hit the post twice as well. I mean, it really was a sensational performance. There's been, some of the other fixtures have gone our way. It wasn't like last week, but it was all sort of terrible as well, which has been really good goal difference now. I'll talk about this more in tomorrow's video on the forum channel. Tommy, thank you for joining me, my friend. Do you want to plug your show on next Friday?
Oh yeah, just anyone's join me every Friday night at 10 o'clock. It's called the Late Late Show with Irish Tommy over on West Ham Network, and you never know, we might even get a guest appearance from the Guns Meister.
No, I'm coming on next time I get a free Friday. I was going to do 10 minutes last night, but I was a little bit busy last night. So I'll definitely be popping on. And it is late. It's late. It's like 10 o'clock. So it is the late late show. And I'm an early to bed kind of guy. Not tonight though. Not tonight. I'm gonna probably have a couple of. I'm going to probably have 2 bottles of Sprite tonight, and a packet of Haribo or something just to celebrate.
Can I explain to people in the live chat? Because I know, like I can be like this, and that's my normal face, and I look like I'm really angry and annoyed. I have what they call resting bitch face. So
that's what I call it.
Yeah, I have resting bitch face. So when I'm just looking at a normal expression, I look angry all the time, but I'm not. I'm buzzing. I promise.
Hey, I like the resting bitch face. Listen, I've broken a habit of a lifetime. Generally, I don't read the chat in the review because I just find it hard. Anytime you see me sort of searching for words, it's because I'm sort of looking at the chat. I find it a lot easier in the build-up show, whereas because you've got nothing to remember in the build-up show, but afterwards. Yeah. You've got all this stuff. You're trying to read notes, and so apologies if I got waylaid on that. Tommy, thank you for joining me, mate. Keep an eye out over on the forum channel for Gio's video coming up. He'll be uploading on here tomorrow as well. Obviously, if you are a patron, well, myself and Gio will see you tomorrow for our player ratings. That's going to be really interesting. So, hopefully you can join us for that. Tommy, thanks very much, mate. And as for everybody else, don't forget, please make sure that you like and subscribe and do all that other cool stuff. And we will catch up with you very, very soon. But most of all, enjoy the rest of your weekend and enjoy that win.